My Amp Unit, welcome to BC's Pro Wrestling Amplified Podcast, episode number 30. I want to thank every single one of you that have been on board since episode number 1. And for you newer subscribers who have just come on board recently, welcome. And hopefully you're with us for the next 30 and beyond. Hopefully this episode, like the previous 29, is going to be filled with a lot of thought-provoking conversation and a lot of entertaining topics. We're going to talk CM Punk and his agent, should I say, reaching out to Fox Sports about a potential hosting gig for the pre-SmackDown show that they have planned. Yeah, that's a whole situation unfolding. We're going to talk Mark Henry and what it would take to get him out of retirement for one more match. Just like everyone else, Mark Henry has a price. We're going to talk Vince McMahon and the XFL announcing their 18 names. And these are some head scratchers we're going to talk about. And a lot of other things, guys. I want to start off with the opening monologue. And it stems from a huge story that just broke overnight, really. And that is the engagement between Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. I know, BC, your monologue is getting a little sappy. You're talking about romance. You're talking about marriage. Well, that and a lot of divorce, right? I mean, you want to keep this kind of positive. A couple just got engaged, but I also want to look at it from the other side of things. I don't want to be overly negative, but it's something that has always been complex for me. It's an issue that is very magnified for yours truly because I've seen so many situations with couples that get engaged so soon. So I want to explore that a little bit in this opening monologue, if you don't mind. Now, right off the jump, I want to say to Colby Lopez and Rebecca Quinn, congratulations. I honestly hope you guys have the happiest, most faithful life possible. And we wish you nothing but the best. We meaning the entire Amplified unit. I want to get that off the gate. No negativity at all. I honestly wish them the best. But this is a podcast that jumps into all things pro wrestling. Whether personal or professional, we talk about these things. They're in the public eye. This leads me, and first I just want to say, for those of you that don't know, this is a real thing. They are engaged. This isn't just speculation. Rebecca Quinn, Becky Lynch, left on her Twitter, happiest day of my life for the rest of my life. And it's a picture of her and Rollins, and she was wearing an engagement ring. So she broke that to the world. That is a very real thing, and every other source imaginable has picked up on the story. So looks to be an absolute real thing. So again, congrats to them. My thing is, they just started dating 6 months ago. Right, February. So February to March, April, May, June, July, August. 6 months. What is the need? I just asked this question. What is the need to get engaged and talk about marriage so quickly? I've been in relationships that have been years long, and you don't realize till years later that this just ain't working, or I don't want to do this. Everybody's different. And by no means, I want to say this too, am I speaking for another relationship? Everybody's different. And so I just want to get that out of the fucking way, guys. You can't just sit back and Monday morning quarterback other people's relationship. Totally understandable. I'm saying from experience, I have seen the weirdest shit when it comes to the term marriage. Before I even moved to New York City, guys, I came from a small town in New England. And a lot of my friends would get married and have kids really young. And it didn't take long to figure out why. It was based on immaturity and insecurity. That's why most, if not all, younger people get married really young and have kids really young. It's insecurity and it's immaturity. But when I left that small town and I went to New York City, I saw a little bit of an older crowd, 30s, 40s, say. And those 30s and 40-year-olds, they were jumping into relationships and making erratic decisions like jumping into marriage and having kids really quickly But they had a little bit more maturity. They had a little bit more stability, and they had a little bit more security. But they were rushing into marriage and rushing into having kids early because they felt rushed into doing such. They felt that time was running out. So, you guys get what I'm saying? I saw both ends of the spectrum. Growing up in that small town, I saw all my friends getting married young and having kids young because of immaturity and insecurity. And then when I moved to New York City, I see an older crowd that felt like time was running out. So they would meet people and 3 or 4 months later be engaged. 5 months after that, they were married. Because they felt time was running out and they were feeling rushed. And then you have I think there's a little bit of this in all couples that get engaged quickly and get married quickly. You have the compulsive side of things. And that group is based on pure passion stemming from a new relationship and all the feelings that come with it. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? The sex is great for the first several months, maybe even the first several fucking years. Sex is on top of the world. You feel a real connection. You feel like you don't want to be apart from that person. They are the center of your universe. You know that new love feeling. That can last months, for some people a few years. But that shit wears off over time. I'm not saying you don't love that person. In fact, that love can get deeper over time. But those initial feelings, they're not the same years later. Trust me on that. So you have all these reasons that people jump into marriage really quickly and engagements really quickly and even having kids really quickly. You have all of these scenarios that I have sat back and witnessed myself. I didn't go to college long, but when I did, my major, if you will, my minor, if you will, was always psychology. I loved just jumping into the human mind, because it is a complex world that I just love to dive into. And part of my psychological studies, if you will, was just sitting back and really taking inventory of how people act and decide things when it comes to engagements and marriages and when to do such. And again, I did that at a young age before I even started studying this stuff. And I would just see my friends jumping into marriage and having kids early. But then you move to New York City and you see an older crowd doing the same things for a different set of circumstances, for different reasonings, I should say. And all of it had the underlying compulsiveness to it. The passion was speaking louder than maybe rationalism. So there's always these different reasons that people are doing such, but in the end, they're the same, they're lumped in the same groups. Celebrities, they're their own entity. They're their own little world, right? Caleb Backey put it best. Caleb Backey is a health and wellness expert. And he says, and I quote in his studies, "Many celebrities struggle with living a life of constant scrutiny and erratic schedules. This complicated lifestyle compels them to latch on to whatever they can to ground them. That said, it makes sense to rush into marriage because it allows them to maintain some semblance of stability in their chaotic existence." Sound a little bit familiar, guys? Complicated lifestyle compels them to latch on to whatever they can to ground them. That said, it makes sense to rush into marriage because it allows them to maintain some semblance of stability in their chaotic existence. And he said, many celebrities struggle with living a life of constant scrutiny, and erratic schedules. Sound familiar there with Rollins? You gotta remember, Rollins, while engaged with Layla, he cheated on her with Zara. And then broke up with Sarah, what's her name, Alessandrelli, in February, which is the same month he got with Becky Lynch. So he broke up with the bombshell in this Sarah Alessandrelli, who's just beyond smoking hot. Broke that off, and either was already dating Becky, I don't want to speculate, but either was already, or literally a day later, basically, started dating Becky Lynch. Right after breaking up with Sarah. So this guy is constantly having these kind of flip-flop ways with his women anyway. So why would you continue that? If you have all of these issues with women, why not wait it out? Why jump into another engagement in marriage discussion after just 6 months with Becky Lynch? This sounds erratic to me. This sounds like somebody who is searching for stability in an erratic lifestyle. Exactly what Caleb Brackey said. Again, a health and wellness expert who has done these studies, especially on celebrities and people of the like. Again, we wish nothing and hope nothing but the best for them, and we congratulate them, meaning Becky and Seth, Colby and Rebecca. But this is an hour-long podcast. We talk everything and anything pro wrestling. This is a hot topic overnight. So we're going to jump into it. And I'm going to beg the question, why do people feel the need to have marriage discussion / engagement after just a few months of dating? It's just so random. It's as random as sitting around with your significant other on a Wednesday night and not deciding on what to have for dinner. The dude wants a DiGiorno pizza. The old lady wants a clam sauce pasta. You can't decide. So the dude looks at the lady and says, "You want to go out to eat?" And the lady's like, "Hell yeah, Breadstick City, bitch. Olive Garden, here we come." You know what I mean? And it's like, hey, you want to go out to eat? Yeah. Hey, you want to get married? Yeah. Fuck, why not? I'm digging ya. Sex is good. I like texting you so far. Let's do it. After all, we've been together 6 fucking months. Obviously, marriage is next. I want to live with you forever. It's been an incredible 6 fucking months. I've had pairs of shoes that are incredible for 6 months, 9 months. I've had shoes, when you take care of them, for over a fucking year. They feel incredible. After a fucking year, it kind of starts to wear itself out a little bit. They really take a lot more maintenance and care. You better hope in a relationship you have the time, or you put in the time, the effort, and the maintenance to your relationship. Because if you think that this is a quick band-aid, a quick fix in an erratic lifestyle, just wait until you have to put those band-aids on your relationship, because there's gonna be a lot of hardships. Hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm being real with you. Every relationship has a shitload of hardships. If you thought your lifestyle was erratic before and chaotic, just wait. Now you're about to be married. So I just hope they know what they're fucking doing, man, and make real fucking conscious decisions. I'm not saying anyone's making wrong decisions up front. I'm just begging the question, why? Why do people jump into this shit so quickly? And I've already given you the reasons, really, psychologically speaking. My own personal studies, but actual fucking people that have studied this shit collegiately as well. But even beyond that, just common sense and logic, wouldn't that tell you, hey man, this is going good, let's see where this goes. Let's see after a year where we really are, just a full year. It's not that much to ask. If you really love each other, it's not going anywhere. If you really love each other, you'll give each other that room, that space to breathe. If it's real love, I don't know if marriage is being discussed in 3, 4, 5, 6 months. You know what I mean? I don't know. I beg the question, man. I got some staggering statistics that'll back up what I'm saying, too, just in case, you know. Oh, BC, relax, man. It's not that big of a deal. They're going to be together forever, man. And most couples stay together anyway, BC, so it's not a big deal. No, they don't, actually. I have some staggering statistics that I went out of my way to find for you guys. Because, again, this is a subject that really, boggles my mind. Because I've seen personally so many divorces from people that have jumped into marriage. Just last year, one of my good friends, she jumped into marriage, and I knew she shouldn't have, because her lifestyle was erratic. She's a doctor, and the person she married was a big business dude, right? Always traveling as well. They didn't even live together for the first 6 months. But after 6 months, they got engaged anyway. And after a year, they were fully married. And it was a huge wedding, guys. A huge wedding. They got a ton of gifts. A lot of money went into this. A lot of people traveled from around the world. She's Chinese. So a lot of people, and he was as well too. So a lot of people traveled for this wedding here in the U.S. and from China. And a lot went into this. And after 7 months, they were divorced. 7 months. After 6 months, they were engaged. After 1 year, fully married. And 7 months after that marriage, fully divorced. In a time of 17 months. Oh, I'm sorry, 12 a year. What was that? Fucking, I can count. 19 months. They were engaged, married, and divorced. 19 months, not even 2 fucking years. Tell me that ain't some shit. That's just one story, guy. I can sit here I can sit, the whole hour podcast can be me telling you divorce stories. I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news. Trust me, I've wished them well 3 times already in this video. This isn't even just about Colby and Rebecca anymore. This is just my podcast. This is a big news story in the wrestling world, and I want to kind of expand on that and ask the question, why do today's, not just youth, older people, and again, I've already given the answer, but it's just, I want people to really think about things going forward. You know, do things for the right conscious reasons. Anyway, I've seen way too many stories like that, guys. And I just think about all the money that went into it and all the planning. And it was almost like they just filled a void for the time being. And then when that feeling was done, the feeling of engagement, the feeling of marriage, the feeling of the title of being married, and they had all their needs fulfilled, and that feeling wore off, it was almost like, all right, there's nothing left here. And I've seen it so many times. Back to the statistics, guys. I'll go over this real quick. This might depress you, so you may want to fast forward in this vid to other wrestling news, all right? But these are statistics that'll fucking kind of drag you down, but they're the truth. Here in the U.S. anyway. These statistics are for the U.S. There is 1 divorce every 36 seconds. Here in the U.S. Nearly 2,400 divorces per day, 16,800 per week, and 876,000 divorces a year. The divorce rate for first marriages, the first time you get married, the divorce rate is between 40 and 50%. 40 to 50% of marriages will end in divorce. 60% for a second marriage. If you were to get married again, the chances of you getting divorced go up 10 more percent. 10 to 20%. And then 73% for a third marriage. 73% chance that you're going to get divorced if you keep on making the same mistake. The average marriage in the U.S. lasts 8 years. Let me say that again for those that think I'm just being negative, right? This is a time for celebration, BC. Colby and Rebecca have announced their engagement. Yes, that's great. That doesn't mean I'm not going to hit you with the truth and some facts. That's what we do on this podcast. It's all about thought-provoking conversation. The average marriage in the U.S. only lasts 8 years. You don't see a problem with that? Ironically, New Yorkers last the longest with an average of 12 years, and that's only because we focus on our careers so much that we didn't even realize we had a shitty fucking marriage. I'm joking, but not really. I mean, that's the truth. You know, New Yorkers are so career-driven that they put their problems to the side. The problem with that is eventually those problems will rear their ugly head, and that's why 4 years later it finally catches up to New Yorkers. And they're like, shit, how did I even fucking go this long with you? Get out of my life! Yeah, well, the feeling's mutual, Bob. Whatever, Stella, get out of my house. It's half mine now, bitch. I got all your money. I mean, you know, the sad truth is, guys, as much as, you know, you like to think marriage is all about the feelings and oh, everything feels so good and I found the love of my life, my soulmate, right? There's a business side of marriage, trust me, and it gets down and gritty when it gets down and gritty, you know, and oh man, bad things can rear its ugly head. Marriage can be really fucking ugly, man. And that's why I say, before you even talk marriage, before you even discuss engagement or have the thought, the inkling of asking someone to marry you, you better have a lot of time go by and know for sure that that is your lifelong partner and that is your soulmate. Trust me, you want to give it enough time, man. The good news for Rollins and Lynch is that the number one reason that couples get divorced is money. That is the number one reason for arguments and a break in a relationship. Money factors. And that's good news for Rollins and Lynch because according to Rollins and what he told Will Ospreay recently, Rollins' bank account is just fine. And Lynch just came off her best financial year with the company, with the WWE. So money-wise, they should be fine. Although I have seen many celebrity couples break up over money issues. Either they didn't feel they were making enough, or one of them was spending too erratically and too compulsively. Or one thought that the other was being cheated out of a large sum of money. I've seen crazy shit, man, when it comes to celebrities and their monies and reasons for breakups. Anyway, making you think. You know what I mean? And it's not all a bed of roses, just like marriage is not a bed of roses. So, you know, while we wish them and hope for Colby and Rebecca, Seth and Becky, we hope that this lasts a lifetime and beyond, right? You go up to the pearly gates still together. But the bottom line is there's a bigger issue at large that I wanted to talk about on my platform. And that is the and again, this isn't just BC's being negative. I just gave you guys staggering statistics. Nearly half of the marriages, at least in my country, the US, end in divorce. Half of them. 40 to 50%. 60 if you get married a second time. 70, almost three-quarter, 75% nearly if you want to get married a third time. And by that time, why don't you just stop getting married if it's your third fucking time? Maybe you're not doing something correctly, or maybe this isn't working out for you. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. BC, you can't give up on love. No, but I can give up on making stupid decisions. But it is. It's a joyous time for Colby and Rebecca. I'll use them as an example because this is what stemmed this conversation. It's a joyous time. I hope nothing but the best. But if you tell me in 6 months or a year from now that it didn't work out, I'm gonna say, duh. I'm not shocked. It sucks. It'll be a bummer. I'm not gonna be like, I told you so. No. Because in this video, I've said 100 times, I hope they last. But I'm not gonna be shocked. And that's what I wanted this opening monologue to be about. People, especially you youngsters out there, think, man, there's no reason to jump into marriage or talk about it or get engaged after just 6 months. Pairs of shoes don't get worn out in 6 months. Give a relationship, especially when you're talking about that person being with you for life and being by your side, you can give that the time, the effort, the love, and the patience that should last more than 6 months. If you can't let that breathe and you gotta jump into this shit that quickly, maybe there's an issue. Oh wait, judging by everything I just dished out to you guys, there is an issue. There's no maybe. Statistically speaking, it begs the question, why not just give it a little more time than 6 months? A year just minimum. Like, a year is a good time frame. You can't tell people how to live their life. Absolutely. You can't tell people how to go about their relationship. Absolutely. I'm not doing that. I'm telling you, why not think a little more, though? Like, my question is, why not? If you see all these statistics, why not say, hey, you know what? I don't want to be one of those. And as much as I think I love you right now and I want you to be my soulmate, I feel you are, let's see where this goes, man. And in a year, in 2 years, if our feelings are stronger than day one, we know what we need to do. Why not just do that, man? What the fuck is the rush? What if you're married in 1 year and then you realize in month 14, this isn't actually, I mean, now that everything kind of died off a little bit, I still have feelings for you. I still care for you. I even love you, but I'm not feeling this. It happens more than you think, doesn't it? Yeah, I just told you such. Why not give it time? Does your love, does your partner, does your relationship not deserve that time? No, BC, it's sheer love, man. That's why they're doing it. It is soulmates, and that's why they're doing it now, because they know, BC, it's instant love. And yeah, you can find those stories out there. Oh, I knew instantly. We were engaged in 4 weeks, and we were married in 3 months, and we've been together for 15 years. I'm not saying there's not those stories. Unfortunately, statistically speaking, there's not enough of them. Don't worry. I got a brand new pen, and we got a lot of wrestling stories to get to. I know I spent a while on that, so let's get right into it. Alright, I actually went and got a coffee real quick, but through the magic of YouTube, you guys did not notice a thing. I probably didn't even need to tell you that, but that's why there's now a coffee in frame. Now we can get on to the wrestling news. Sort of, right? This first story is sort of wrestling. I mean, Vince McMahon wants you to think it's 2 separate entities, 2 separate companies. And of course, I'm talking about the XFL. And they just announced their 18 names yesterday. And I got an email. It was a WWE officialized email, straight from WWE with their logo all over it, telling me to go check out the XFL.com website and pick my favorite team. So they're already blurring the lines, the same thing that got them in trouble the first time around with this whole XFL thing. That and the oversaturation of pro football in and of itself is what led to its failure. Vince said this time it is going to be a totally different entity than my pro wrestling endeavor with WWE. But is it? Because I'm already seeing all these WWE officialized email with all the XFL information. So it looks to me like you're really going to try to garner your wrestling audience, first and foremost, but which should be done. I mean, you want to get your product out there, right? It's like marketing a movie. But my question is, who else besides WWE, Vince, are you trying to appeal to? Who else is going to watch this league? What changes have you made to make us get captivated by this? Maybe a little change here, a little change there, but do you have the recipe for success yet? I doubt that very much, and I think the oversaturation of football in general is not going to help you. That's the leading cause in what could be, inevitably, your failure again. The National Football League, man, college and how it's really taken off the past 2 decades. All these arena football leagues. Now you have out of nowhere the XFL, 8 teams. How much football do we need? That's like a Major League Baseball season finally coming to its conclusion after 9 long months and then saying, wait, we got more for ya. I don't know, man. And then again, you blur the lines with that in the pro wrestling thing, and now we're supposed to, like, integrate XFL with our wrestling, or is it supposed to be integration of wrestling with XFL? You're blurring the lines, and it's just a smorgasbord, a bunch of ingredients put together for one failing recipe. That's what I'm looking at. Now, you guys tell me about these team names. I just want to speak on that, but these are the team names that have been announced. There are 8 teams in the XFL. They were all announced yesterday as far as their names. The Dallas Renegades, the Houston Roughnecks, the Los Angeles Wildcats, the New York Guardians, the St. Louis Battlehawks, the Seattle Dragons, the Tampa Bay Vipers, and the Washington Defenders. I don't know, man. I'm not going to sit here and pick. I'm sure as I'm reading these names, a lot of you are just laughing hysterically. Legit LOLing. Other of you, you might be thinking, what more can they do? I mean, team names are hard to pick. I mean, Vipers, Guardians, Dragons, Defenders. I guess that's all you can do, right? Others, again, laughing at Roughnecks. The Houston Roughnecks. The St. Louis Battlehawks. You know, some of these are funny, yes. Some of these just make you kind of roll your eyes into the back of your dome piece. I'm not gonna lie. But it's because it's new to us, you know? If somebody were to tell me right now, if the Packers were never a thing and somebody just made a league and they said, the team name will be the Packers, I might laugh hysterically at it, or I might just be so fucking depressed and to the point where, you know what, that was gonna be my team and it's not now because the name the fucking Packers is not flying with me. So maybe I'm not laughing at all. Maybe this shit just got real and it's serious. I'm not going to follow a team called the Packers. You know? But when it's known and you get used to it, man, the name, it's almost like I couldn't think of my football team, my NFL football team, as anything other than the Packers. The Yankees. If you've never heard that term before or that name for a team, and baseball just started up and they named the team a Yankee, the Yankees, you're going to be like, what the fuck? No, that's not my team anymore. Fuck that shit. But now it's like, you know, you're so used to it. You couldn't picture baseball without the Yankees. The Yankees are the name alone is such value to it and such meaning. Even if you're not a Yankee fan, I couldn't picture not even being a Yankee fan, to be honest. But even if you're not, that name has so much history to it. You know, so who's to say one day the Battlehawks or the Roughnecks won't be legendary? Do I have my doubts? No question. It just, the whole thing is just, it's like we're living in a time warp. Why did we have to go back in time to something that failed so miserably in something we knew that was going to? Because even back then, what was it, 2 decades ago, guys? Something like almost 2 decades ago, right? At least. Maybe it was 2. We knew back then that there was an oversaturation of football. And that wasn't a quenching thirst for more football. There wasn't. And Vince tried to sell us that there was. And then, here we are 2 decades later, there's definitely not a quench to be fucking, you know, grasped when it comes to football. Or more of it, and Vince is still trying to sell us that, yes, this is exactly what people want. More football. No, it's not. The NFL is more than enough. College football takes more than enough of those people's time outside of NFL. That's your Saturdays and your Sundays, and your Monday nights, and now your Thursday nights. Now you want to take the one off season, the 2 months that we have, the 3 months? Oh, I don't know, man. This whole XFL thing, man, this just... I never want to stifle someone's creativity. I never want to bring somebody down in something that they're trying to do. This just reaps of fucking failure. And we'll see. I don't know. I don't want to get into it, man. Because again, I don't want to be that negative, man. You know what I mean? I want to spread a little bit of positivity. Go XFL! XFL! XF... I don't even know when this fucking thing starts. I don't even know the day. I don't know the time. I don't know. I haven't picked my team, Vince. Sorry. Speaking of WWE and doing all these other side fucking, I don't know, extracurricular activities, would you say? They're launching, or at least word is, they're launching their own podcast network. They want you in that WWE bubble. Trust me, this isn't just, oh, wow, this is pretty popular, this podcast thing. No, Vince doesn't give a shit, or WWE. They know that this is a vehicle. This is a way to put you into their bubble even more. They know that there's people like me on this platform in the wrestling community that are going in depth and in detail in a lot of these stories that they don't want out there to the world or to the public. And then you got people like me that are going in depth and in detail, and they know that people like me are taking up a lot of your time. They don't like that. They want you in their bubble. So now they're going to create their own narrative. By creating their own podcast network, they're going to try to make you listen to them as many hours in a day as they possibly can. And it's all going to be fluff. Some of it may be a little edgy, right? Keep the viewer, but for the most part, it's going to be fluff because it is owned by WWE and Vince McMahon. It's not going to be that outside of the box at all. They're not going to go that in-depth or in detail, or at least not truthfully speaking. But they want you in their bubble. And they know that podcasting, videos like this here on this platform on YouTube, this is where the business is going. This is where the world is going. And it's no longer their narrative only. People like you watching me, you get to decide who you like, who you want to listen to. You get to decide what information you are taking in and from who. Vince wants to take that control back, so he is forming this podcast network. And he's going to have probably 24 hours a day podcasts from his suits and ties, his wrestlers, his cronies, past legends, whatever the case may be. It might have some cool stories, some good intake, but at the end of the day, it's going to fit their narrative. And they want to keep you in that bubble. Just be weary, guys, of what they're trying to do. If you think it's just a cool concept, hey, Vince is doing something crazy. But I listen to a lot of podcasts during the day, so this is really cool. Just know the reasoning of why he's doing this. He wants to take back the narrative. He wants to put you into that bubble to the point where you can't get out of it. There are so many hours that he is consuming you, you can't listen to the Amplified Man. Or anyone else for that matter. So all that negativity that's out there, we're going to curb that, and you're going to listen to the WWE Podcast Network, and there's going to be nothing but utmost rainbows and cupcakes positivity. Just be weary, guys. This is another thing that kind of reeks of Vince McMahon's blueprint, and for all the wrong reasons. Where else you guys want to go? You guys hear about this, man. CM Punk. CM Punk's agent recently reached out to Fox officials about Punk possibly working with WWE again. Sort of. You see, it appears FS1 will have an in-studio talk show revolving around WWE, and more specifically, SmackDown Live. So, with this in-studio talk show, this is geared to what CM Punk kind of wants to do now. That's what he was doing lately with UFC too, right? He's doing some talk show, or maybe it was with another mixed martial arts fucking, I don't know, company's show. But that's basically what he's doing now, just analyzing it. And that's where it should end with CM Punk. He has no business being in that octagon. We all can agree on that, and it looks like CM Punk has finally came to that realization. Just talk about it, dude. Don't actually do it. Those that can, do. Those that can't, teach. So there's nothing wrong with that. The guy loves fighting. Just because he's not a fighter doesn't mean he doesn't know about it or can't learn about it and even teach it. We know he knows about pro wrestling, so apparently his agent reached out to Fox about hosting this WWE show. You gotta know Fox would be in cahoots with WWE, and in a roundabout way, the agent and CM Punk would be in contact and cahoots with WWE. This whole thing is just nuts, guys. I want to say I can't believe it, but it's pro wrestling and more specifically WWE, so I actually can believe it. This is actually right up the never say never moniker that WWE lives by. And I'll tell you this, Cody. Was it Cody? Somebody in AEW. I think it was actually Cody. Somebody said I wouldn't be surprised if Punk ended up working with WWE again. I think it was Cody. It was somebody in AEW, and they said I wouldn't be surprised if Punk ended up working in WWE again. How funny is it that just a couple weeks later, we hear this story? Now, we don't know the full-length validity to it. This is an actual story that is on multiple, going over multiple reputable sources sheets today. So, I don't know, guys. We have to find out more information, but damn. And enough time has fucking gone by Everybody keeps bringing up the wedding date thing, man. He got faxed papers on his wedding day. And Punk was done so wrong by the lawsuit. Time heals all wounds. Don't get it twisted. Personally and professionally, time heals all wounds. So I wouldn't be shocked at all, because one day it's going to happen. Punk and Vince McMahon will work together in the future at some point. They're just going to. Is it going to be in a roundabout way and through Fox? So Punk would actually be working more with Fox, not solely WWE. Well, maybe this is the way to go about it. Maybe this is the way for Punk to kind of do something again along the lines of WWE, but not have to answer directly to Vince. It's more Fox. We have to find out more, guys, but what a fucking story that was that just broke. Mark Henry, he said in a recent podcast, don't know if it was his own or one of those busted open type shit, but he was on a podcast and he was asked about coming out of retirement for one more match, and he came right out and admitted, he said, hey, if the price is right, basically you're damn right I'll be there for another match. I'll come out of retirement if the price is right. That's where we're at today, guys. But we've always been at that route. If the price is right, money talks, man, and people will walk for that money. We saw it with Shawn Michaels. If there was one person that was going to stay retired, it was Michaels. Until the money was just, it was staring at you and it was so beautiful. You could not turn that lady away. And you wanted that money, man. You don't even necessarily need it. You wanted that money. There was so much of it for one night's of work. And, Saudi Arabia called and all that money was beckoning and Shawn Michaels came out of retirement. Undertaker came out 3 or 4 times when he didn't want to yet because the almighty dollar was speaking volumes. Mark Henry comes right out and says, if the price is right, you're damn right I'm coming out for another match. This is a guy who multiple times said, no, I'm done. No, for real, I'm done. But when asked straight out, he said, that Saudi Arabia money comes a-flying. You gotta know that's what he's talking about. I don't know if he specifically said the Saudi Arabia money, but that's what he said. If Vince comes to me and says, I'm giving you this much money, we need you for a night in Saudi, Mark Henry's coming back for a match. And you just know, guys, that's how most, if not all, of those superstars look at it. And it's not that they lack morals or values. Not at all. It's just money talks in this world, and people will walk for that money. Most, if not everyone, has a price. You know what I mean? When so much money is sitting on the table and you're thinking about your family, you might put your pride aside. Yes, I stuck to my word, and I told myself I'm going to stay retired for myself, and that's my word. That money is life-changing sometimes, or could really, really help out someone who's been retired for a while. I don't know. That's just a story it just makes me think, man. And that's what this podcast is all about, just taking little stories like that and really overanalyzing them, really getting in depth with them. So many things came to mind when I heard that Mark Henry thing. It's just like, that's the most honest thing he could have said. Not no. And then behind the scenes, Vince offers something, and all of a sudden, Mark Henry's wrestling a match. That honesty is clutch, man. And it goes to what I always knew. Money talks. Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley is currently, from what we're hearing anyway, dealing with an elbow injury believed to be an infection contracted in Japan. So he contracted this infection while wrestling in Japan, and this leads, again, I cannot stress this enough. When AEW is so lenient with its wrestlers, everyone looked at it as, see, this is cool. They're letting people wrestle elsewhere. They're letting them make a living elsewhere, and this is how it should be. They're independent contractors. Let them fucking roam and make a living. And I told you guys, the problem with that is, if AEW wants to be a legit company and they're going to advertise shit, and this is what they're already doing. Moxley is already advertised for several of their first 4 shows, if not all of them by now. He's advertised. So what if he gets injured wrestling over in Japan? Or this elbow injury is cleared up, and then next week he gets another new fucking injury that's even more severe. Knock on it. But you know what I'm saying? At some point, they're going to have to be a real company and say, you're with us now. And we have promoted you, and we need you to be with us fully. And that is why you can say a bunch of nasty shit about Vince all you want, as far as him wanting people solely for his company and not letting them wrestle other places. But that is a smart business, man, especially when it comes to pro wrestling. I would never want my wrestlers signed to me, whether I started the TV deal or not, signed to me wrestling other places while I'm promoting them for my shows. I would never want that. And this is the reasoning, guys. If this injury turns out to be not only true, but more severe than we thought, then what, guys? Then he doesn't even get to wrestle on those first several episodes of AEW on TNT. Well, can he even show up? You don't know these injuries or what could stem from future appearances for these AEW stars and other promotions. And they get injured, and then what? Their AEW debut and subsequent run in AEW, initially anyway, is ruined. This is the really, very real nature of the beast and the business. Pro wrestling takes a toll on those bodies, and when you sign a contract, you have to be with that organization. There's no BC. The contract for such and such doesn't really start until October. No, it starts the day you start promoting that motherfucker. That's when that contract is signed, and that is when you are a part of AEW fully now. You're not dancing around in Japan or in Des Moines, Iowa at some local bingo hall. Or down at the local warehouse, playing around with Danny Dipshit Dugenheimer and Billy Buttfuck McGee. No, you're a part of AEW now. If you're a part of WWE, you're a part of WWE. If you're a part of ROH, you are ROH. If you want to be legitimized and you are promoting talent, they need to be with you. If you are just a smaller independent, maybe even ROH, I'll give them then. I'll put them in that category. Then you can have your wrestlers dance around, because not only are you probably not paying them enough, so they have to go to other promotions, but that's probably the most likely thing to do. You're only putting on a couple of shows a week. Tops. But when you're an AEW or a WWE, something like that, and you have millions of dollars on the table in a huge cable TV network deal, brah, you better make sure your talent is with you and only with you. If Moxley has an injury and it's severe, guys, and it takes him out of those first few weeks of AEW and TNT, that's a huge fucking breaker for them, man. Not cool. And it's not just Moxley. I know AEW is letting all of their wrestlers do whatever they want until their TV contract. Careful with that shit. That's all I'm saying. Careful with it. Because you're starting to advertise a lot for those first 4 to 5 weeks. It'd be a shame if a lot of those superstars can't even compete. Where else you guys want to go? Some quick hits. The Rock's HBO show Ballers is coming to an end. The 5th and final season starts this Sunday. And The Rock is calling a quits on Ballers. I never really watched the show, but I knew a lot of people that liked it actually loved it. And that show is coming to an end. It looks like The Rock wants to focus on a lot more, and that show has taken up a lot of his time. The Undertaker, he is scheduled to return to WWE programming on September 10th. And that edition of SmackDown Live from Madison Square Garden. So a huge SmackDown show. Undertaker at first wasn't being promoted for it, but it was leaked that he was going to be there, and now it looks like they're heavily promoting The Undertaker. So I don't know if ticket sales were just a little bit more down than they would have liked. Now, he could be used just for a dark segment, as he is not scheduled for Clash of Champions 5 days later on September 15th. So there would be no reason to really have him on that show other than it's New York City. So don't be surprised if he's just there for the New York crowd. But Undertaker will be on hand for the Madison Square Garden September 10th big SmackDown Live show. What else, guys? You know what? I think that's going to be it now. we went over a lot, I think, right? If it was 2 hours long, I probably could do that too with you guys, but I want you guys to get on with your weekend and really kick its ass. So I'm not going to keep you here a minute longer. That's what I got for you guys. Keep a lookout during the weekend for an impromptu video. There was a couple of subjects I wanted to talk to a little bit more in length as its own video, and I wasn't able to yesterday. I don't know if I'll be able to this weekend, but as always, stay subscribed and notified, and you'll be the first to find out when that video goes up. But I would like to put up an impromptu. If not, you guys know the deal, man. I'll see you on Tuesday morning for the Raw review and reaction, and we'll do this thing again as we go closer and closer to Clash of Champions. The Amplified, man. Thank you so much for 30 episodes of the Amplified podcast. Here's to the next 30 and beyond. For now, bow. Check you later. Whoa, hold up, guys. My bad. As I was uploading this video, I realized I still had 10 minutes left. It felt like a whole hour, to be honest, already, but no, I still have 10 minutes, so I figure I'll throw another bonus story your way. And this kind of has to do with Jerry Lawler, and it's a bit complex because Jerry Lawler, even in his 60s, has taken on a reputation as somebody that'll wrestle for any promotion that comes a-knocking. Not only just for money, but more so because he just loves wrestling so much. Literally, like getting in the ring and wrestling. So Lawler has that reputation now where you'll see Lawler wrestling around the United States in all these indie matches. He just loves to do it. But he recently turned down a match with a new AEW signee, Orange Cassidy. Now, Cassidy has taken on a reputation as somebody that, his whole shtick anyway, is somebody who doesn't like to wrestle. Yet he's a wrestler. Go figure. Now, I don't have anything up front against Orange Cassidy. The character is just, it's supposed to be a comedic character. Some would say it's like R-Truth to WWE. That's what Orange Cassidy is to AEW. But if AEW is supposed to be superb wrestling, then I don't see how Orange Cassidy honestly has a place. Half the audience does find him funny, but I know the other half doesn't find him funny at all. I remember that Battle Royal that they had a couple pay-per-views ago for AEW, and it was really bad. And one of the things that stuck out to me was when Orange Cassidy was throwing these little fourth grader kicks at, I believe it was Tommy Dreamer. A lot of that Battle Royal, actually, Orange Cassidy was just, it was too much. And it was the type of comedy I didn't want to see at that moment, especially in AEW. It was the type of stuff you were trying to get away from, or a lot of people were trying to get away from in WWE. And apparently, Jerry Lawler is no fan of Orange Cassidy. Apparently, he has come out and said that. So, Jerry Lawler has never been one to kind of hide his true feelings. So he came out and said he doesn't care for Orange Cassidy. And on top of that, the new report is that Jerry Lawler refused a matchup with Orange Cassidy. And again, that's huge because Jerry Lawler does not refuse a lot of matches. I can't even think of one that he actually refused in recent memory. So that goes to show you that he doesn't want to do that whole shtick. And it's interesting to see going forward if there are a lot of people like Jerry Lawler, or maybe he's just legit old school and, he's got his own hang-ups and gripes. I wish nothing but the best for Orange Cassidy. I do. I think this is a weird signee for AEW. I really do think this is a weird mesh because AEW is supposed to be legit pound for pound, pure wrestling. The best wrestling is what they're telling us they're going to offer us. And if that's the case, I don't see how someone like Orange Cassidy helps your roster other than that 3 to 4 minutes of comedy during your show. And at what point is it going to get stale? At least in WWE, for instance, R-Truth can carry out more than just a comedy segment. I mean, he's mostly known for comedy, obviously, now, especially. But R-Truth can do a lot more. If you need him to go, for instance, 15 to 20 minutes in a match, Truth will deliver that. Now, Orange Cassidy can deliver more than what his shtick shows, but I don't think you're going to be captivated by a 15 to 20 minute Orange Cassidy match, or at least I've seen him actually wrestle, and I wasn't. Remains to be seen, man. You know, there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, and they will be once AEW gets on TV. But I thought that was an interesting little story, guys, a little tidbit, that Jerry Lawler is no fan of Orange Cassidy, and I don't know, man. I can't say I'm against the kid. I want to see him succeed, but I'm going to have to see a lot more myself, because when these old veterans are going to get in the ring with him, I don't think some fourth grader kicks to their shins is going to suffice. These legends and old timers will want to knock your block off. Anyway, I'm the Amplified Man. That's a few extra bonus minutes, guys. Got us closer to that full hour that I promised you. Now, you go out and you rock this weekend's ass, man. Couple of coffees first, double fist, and then go rock it out. The Amplified Man. That's right. You ain't got the pitcher in hand, but you know we're double smacking those motherfucking biceps, right? You know you're chopping up those chests. You know we're banging out those delts. We got the fucking, there it is. You got the fucking bicep rocking. We flexing hardcore now. Now, you go rock out this weekend, Amplified style. Check you later.